Hi everyone, welcome to DOdaily. It's Des here. Welcome to Thursday Thoughts, the live questions and answers. Bit of a technical issue there. I don't know why I wasn't appearing, but unfortunately for you, here I am. Another episode of chatting away about this, that, and the other. Your questions, some decent ones to go at tonight. Really looking forward to getting stuck in. Really enjoyed last Thursday's episode. Of course, it's just a chance to talk about some of the things that have happened this week, current affairs, anything that's on your mind. A chance to pick my brains. I work off what's happening in my life, what's affecting me during the week. Try and build up my activity, and of course on a Thursday, all I'm trying to do is kind of switch that around a little bit, create some conversation, invite people to join in and take part wherever they can. If you're watching live, please say hello. Please drop us a comment. Anything you want to add to anything we say. I'll be running through the usual format, last week's throwback, before going into the questions for this week, and then offering up another throwback and just talking about what's going off at the moment. So like I say, if you've got any comments to add, please drop them in, say hello, anything about the questions, anything to ask me today, put me on the spot. I'll be willing to answer that. Of course, all I try and be is honest and realistic and hopefully relatable, passing on little bits of information of how people might, of things people might want to know, maybe to inspire them, maybe just because you're curious, maybe just because you're nosy. It's absolutely fine. All I'm trying to do here is build my own confidence, being live and sort of speaking about different subjects, being put on the spot, like I say there, it's just a way of communicating. And if there's somebody out there who's experiencing something and wants me to answer questions, whether they're light-hearted or a bit more serious, I'm always willing to talk about it. Try not to shirk anything. Of course, I try to be realistic with it as well in terms of not crossing lines and boundaries, but I'll be as honest as I possibly can. If I've got an opinion on something, I like to share it. There's no point saying it in a way that's not true to myself, otherwise there'd be no point doing DOdaily. I put myself in uncomfortable positions all week, so why would I stop doing that on a Thursday? So looking forward to an episode. Like I say, with those questions, some decent ones to answer, really things I can talk about and get stuck into. Not too serious today, which is nice. Like I say, if you've got anything that's really sort of bothering you, there's always the opportunity to contact me by email. Let me know what's on your mind. des@dorunning.org.uk. Love to sort of hear from people. I'm constantly getting messages and feedback, from people saying that they watch DOdaily and they like my approach. I'm not saying it's for everybody. I'm not saying it's particularly interesting at times, but there just might be something in there in the way I deal with things and try to remain positive. I'm not always positive. I'm not always enthusiastic, but people seeing it might just take something from it and think, you know what, I can try and be that little bit better in the way I'm thinking about certain things. And that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. Whilst we do look at sort of mental health, encouragement to do activity and take part in exercise, and I'll do my vlogs and things like that, it's important just to sort of keep it real as well, and just keep it as relatable as possible. I use that word a lot, but it's definitely the case. Dominic is saying, hi Des, enjoying the World Cup. I am. I'll come back to that shortly, Dominic. There's a question about the World Cup. Probably not about the football, but I'll answer that then. But thanks for joining in. Really appreciate you coming on. Like I say, keep dropping your comments if you want to get involved in any way, shape, or form. The links are scrolling across the bottom there. The email address is there too. I'll pop that up again before the end. Of course, if you're watching live, drop us a comment. If you're tuning in after the live show, of course, leave a comment and I'll pick them up. Any questions you've got for next week, I'd love to receive those. Throughout the week on any of the videos, I'll pick them out. Any of the social media links, I'll pick them out too. Before we go any further, I would just like to say, give the episode a thumbs up. That way, isn't it? Do it now. It takes all of 0.2 seconds, but it helps massively. It helps me it helps the channel build organically and get into different searches and things like that. So that'd be a massive support. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. They are building steadily, climbing all the time. So really, really appreciate all the support I get with this. Whilst it's raw, and humble, I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best to do something here, and I've been doing it for a long time now, a couple of years, over 2 years, and it's just something that really helps me tick through. Really enjoyed Thursday episode. Like I say, getting out my comfort zone. But as always, before I really get stuck into the questions, I always like to sort of check in again, especially when I've done a part 1 vlog. Do check that out yesterday. Absolutely brilliant response. I think it was my best vlog, but that was just my personal opinion, not quoting, and it might not be perfect, but I thought it was my actual best part 1 vlog. And there's been 15 or so of them so far. There's a playlist of them. So please check them out. I'd love it if you can watch 1 or 2 and see what I get up to at the weekend. Of course, on a Wednesday, what I try to do is use that as a bit of inspiration, whether people use it to break the week up and think I could go out for a run or some activity, or whether they look to the weekend and think they could do part 1. Part one was a massive thing in getting my head in gear with running and realising that people do it for all sorts of reasons. So it's important for me to vlog, and also to vlog my progress. I'm trying to get back towards a PB and get back to somewhere I want to be. So that's massively important, but the vlog's great. So check that out. I really sort of urge you to go over and watch that, and any of the previous episodes, just to see where I'm really at. So I didn't get a real chance to check in because I put that vlog out on Wednesday, but when I've not done a vlog, or when I've had a week off from part 1, what I do is like to really start evaluating where the week is. But it works well on a Thursday to start things off when I've done the vlog. So I'm good. Things are building nicely. Lots of positive things. I spoke on Tuesday quite a lot about positive things happening. The new job I got at the end of last week. Doing my half marathon on Sunday, and the part 1 itself for the guys. An epic running weekend. We did something Saturday and Sunday. And then, of course, England's winning the World Cup. That was really, really nice. It was expected. It was kind of straightforward, but it's still nice. And then, of course, just sort of getting back into my running this week and feeling good about what I'm doing. Getting that vlog out and feeling sort of positive about that, confident that I've put something half decent out. I realised the content could have a lot more work, and over time, and with a few more subscribers, I'll probably be able to do a little bit more. But right now, it's about getting out the best versions of these things I can. And it's my daily vlog, just running through things, running through what I do. So again, I just sort of encourage you to like and subscribe wherever you can, and watch some of those videos, because that's what makes me feel great, and that's where I'm at. Things are just really building nicely. This time next week, I'll have started my new job. So again, I understand there's going to be a bit of a process to that. It's not always straightforward. It's not always easy to take things in straight away, but it's important not to get too bogged down with it and too worried. It's a process, like everything. Talk about processes, whether it's trying to achieve a PB at part 1, a new job and understanding that, or a difficult situation that you might be faced with. It's important just to keep a level head, and I think that's what I try to do the best I can. Callum has got a comment. Hello, Des. Do you have any runs planned for next year? I'll come back to that shortly as well, because there's a question around running. So thanks, guys. Really appreciate you getting involved in the comments, and like I say, evening anyway, Callum. Thanks for joining the show. I know you're a keen runner and got plenty to ask about that, so really appreciate it when you do get involved. But anybody who wants to ask a comment, I've got a couple there, which I will definitely come back to. Before that, like I say, feeling good, so I'll get stuck into tonight's questions and the responses to the throwback. Of course, the throwbacks is just a light-hearted way of encouraging people to get involved, just drop in a comment, getting a shout out. Last week's was, who do you think will win the World Cup? It's hardly difficult, is it? If you're watching live now, drop me a comment. Who you think will win the World Cup after the first few games? Just watching a bit of the Brazil game there. And my answer, is actually Brazil. I think they're the best team. I think they've got the best squad. It don't always prove to be the case, is it? We've seen some massive shocks this week. The Germans and the Argentinians getting beat after being in front, so that they've been massive shocks. So nothing's a given, but I think Brazil, they've got players playing in Premier League teams who are bang on form. Jesus, Martinelli, Guimaraes. They've got Vinicius Junior at Real Madrid banging form. They've got Rafinha at Barcelona. So I just think, and Richarlison, who's playing well as well. I just think they've got the best all-round squad. So getting into some of those responses, Dawn said England to win, very patriotic over there. Kay says she fancies Spain. The chances there, the big win last night, didn't they? So they'll be feeling confident. Phil says it's got to be Brazil. Joe says, I don't know who will win, but I think England will get to the quarterfinals. Sounds like a pretty good shout. I don't think England will win. I was pleased with that first game, but I'm not sure they're going to go all the way. It's actually 2-0 now. Dominic says Brazil playing bad, but 2-0 up. Again, it's just those players in form, isn't it? And Dawn says bloody Richarlison has got 2 cracking goals. Dawn showing a Forest allegiances there. He was a bit of a pain in the backside when he came to Forest. So interesting to see that they're winning and not playing well. What happens if they do start playing well? And that's just what I think. That's my personal opinion. I think Brazil will win it. But again, who knows? There's been a few shocks already, and teams surprising us yesterday. Canada had a good game against Belgium. So I think it's really important to just look out for some of these teams. And just going back to those comments, that first question from sorry, not that one. Where were we looking? Sorry, I'm in real trouble with my mouse tonight. It's really sticky. So the question from Dominic: Hi, Des, enjoying the World Cup? To some degree. It's hard at the moment, isn't it? Some of the things going on are really upsetting, and shouldn't really be happening. And whilst I don't really want to sort of get too deep into some of the things, because I could actually be here all night, the football side of it, it's decent. The shocks make it worthwhile. Not quite sure of the atmosphere in the stadiums, shouldn't really be everything, does it? But as a massive football fan who goes to football matches, atmosphere is great, and the atmosphere is a bit dull, I think. But the games have been okay. I've not managed to. Normally, I watch them all sort of wall to wall. I've not managed to watch some of the 10 o'clock games through commitments at work and things like that. So it's been okay. I'm looking forward to, as the knockout football is brilliant. When it's a game every 3 days and the excitement starts building, because however we play England down, as soon as they start winning knockout football matches, we'll be all over it and getting really excited. So yeah, I think it's been okay. And I've kind of answered that before the first question, before I got involved in that, because there's a question here about the World Cup from Dawn. Do you think Harry Kane and Gareth Bale should have worn the One Love armband like Neuer did for Germany? Again, without, and I'm not bothered about giving my opinion on this, but without sort of leaning towards doing it either way, they should have worn the armband because they said they were going to do it. And that's the point. They've actually buckled to FIFA. We all know what FIFA are. You don't need me to tell you what kind of organisation they are. But they've buckled with the threat of booking players. But for me, those players should have took a booking. It's hard. I know it's their careers. I know they might only get 1 or 2 shots at this thing. But if you make that call, if you say you're going to do something, as being in the position they are, you have to do it. If true leaders, would take the stance and take whatever flack's thrown at them. Personally, with everything going on, with all the issues that the FA are rightly complaining about, the worker situation, the LGBT stuff, I would have pulled out if I was the FA. But that's my personal opinion. But the FA were making a stance on certain things, then you've got to back it up. And nothing's ever going to happen if you buckle at the last minute. And this is where I've had problems during COVID, with a certain prime minister not doing what they say they're going to do. If you put yourself in that position to say you're going to do something and you're in the public spotlight, you have to do it. You see this week, David Beckham's getting a lot of flack for being an ambassador in Qatar, again, probably rightly so, because you stand up for these things, you have to see it through. And that's what these guys should have done. And if they'd have give the captain's armband round and everyone got booked so it was fair, it's not fair. It's totally not fair. They shouldn't be facing this situation. But I believe it's important that if they've said it, and if they got booked and if players got suspended, refuse to play, or if they got fined, refuse to pay the fine. Pull out the next World Cup. Do what it takes until the right action. We conclude with the right action, and that's how you make a voice. I remember a year or two ago there was the Man United fans who got the Liverpool game called off because they was protesting against the Glazers. They got so much stick for it. But the reality is, if they don't make that kind of stance and cause disruption, there wasn't necessarily harming anyone. They got the football match called off. Yes, it was. I wanted to watch it. I sat down to watch the game and wanted to watch it. But until you make a real stance like that, nothing's going to change. On the flip side of that, you look at the situation with the protesters on the M25, and they're putting life in danger. So that's going too far. That's going too far, and you shouldn't be sort of stopping ambulances and people who were travelling to funerals and things like that, because then you're affecting people who can't make a change, who can't impact things. But wearing an armband, pulling out World Cups, not paying fines, pulling out a FIFA. Who says they've got to rule this thing anyway? Who made them in charge? I'm sure I do know some of their history, but who decided one day that they was going to govern football? Breakaways happen in other sports, from the governing bodies. And as soon as they do it, there's nothing they can do about it. And everybody follows, and then it's always much better going forward. So I've got really strong opinions on this. I told you I wouldn't shirk anything. Really, really strong opinions. I've seen a couple of guys like Roy Keane and Stan Collymore saying that Stan Collymore said in particular that Kane should take the booking and take whatever's thrown at him. Roy Keane said something very similar. And they've proven to be sort of opinionated, strong-willed sort of characters who want to lead. And if you're a leader, in Harry Kane and Gareth Bale's case, that's the position you put in. Rightly or wrongly, if you don't want to be in that kind of position to make the stance, don't say it in the first place. And this is what I go right back to. If the FA or Kane or Bale or any of these people had not said anything in the first place, then you've got nothing to answer to. You've got every right to not make a stance, but it's when you sort of put yourself in that position and say you're going to do this, that, and the other, and then people are going to come for you a little bit if you don't do it. So I think they definitely should have worn the armband. You saw the Germans, made a statement as well. I think there was a German president or somebody, or I'm not sure who it was, who was sat next to Infantino, the guy from FIFA, with the armband on. And I just think it's important to show support to the LGBT community in that sense, because it's not right. It definitely isn't right. But you can also not say anything. I could have not said anything. I've made my stance now. Somebody might pick me up calling me woke and this and that and the other. It's not, because I can't change anything. I can't do anything to make that situation change, but I can have an opinion. I could have not said anything, whether I think it's right or wrong, whether I agree with the armband itself or whether I agree with what Qatar say, which I don't, but I could have not said anything. And that's what people forget sometimes in this world. You don't have to put yourself out there. Your opinion's okay, but as soon as it comes out, there's going to be people who agree and disagree. There's a couple of comments here. Patrick Current Euros 1972 said dead right there should have boycotted the tournament. Do you know, I think it would have made the biggest statement of all. Do you know, one big team pulls out, I tell you, 6 or 7 would have gone just like that. So what if they didn't play it? You know, all of us are a little bit upset with what's going on because there's so many situations that need dealing with. And Dominic says, good point here, all players should show support, not just the captain. Well, absolutely, but that's kind of the position that the armband thing came up, didn't it? I don't think it should have necessarily been the captain, but it's, yeah, all of them could have done something. All of them could have wore a band, or like when somebody dies, of course, people wear the black armband out of respect. There could have been something very similar to that, and then a captain's armband. But again, if the FA are putting the England team in a position to do something, I think then that they're doing it. And not just the England team, there was other nations who backtracked. But as soon as you put yourself in a position, I think it's important to show that. And Dominic says, of course you can. It's up to each person to do their bit to change the world. Well, absolutely. But what I was saying there is almost if you don't want the backlash, you don't have to say anything, you know, because that's the easiest way not to get criticism. And that's all I'm saying about the FA. If they didn't, if they'd not said anything, you know, then they wouldn't have had the backlash. I don't agree with that because I think it's completely wrong. And we've, like you say, we've all got to do a little bit to change the world. But the reality is, you know, until people in position take a strong stance and back up their words with actions, you know, nothing really does get changed. You know, big statements make it. And when these organisations or these high-profile players, you know, do it, then that's when we see real change. And yeah, it's a hot subject right now, isn't it? It's one that's been sort of at the forefront of most people's mind and kind of taken a little bit away from the football again. You know, we've all got, well, people who believe in this kind of thing. I believe have got a conscience, you know, and feel that for the good of humanity, you know, these things have got to change, and football can't just be the smoke screen that it always is. You know, it shouldn't all be about football. It shouldn't all be on the FA and the England team and Harry Kane and just like Dom's saying there, you know, other players can do it. Everybody can do their bit, but these are the people that can make real change, especially when they say they're going to do it. And that's the point. You know, we spent a COVID situation. I don't want to get political. We spent a COVID situation with a government putting rules in and then not abiding by them. And then everything just goes up in the air, isn't it? People lose respect, they lose confidence, and they lose faith in what's happening. And I think it's important that leaders lead, you know, especially when they're given privileged positions that they want, you know, and they want to make statements on the back of it. So yeah, really feel quite strongly on that one. A great question to start with. Again, it's getting stuck into it, getting me perhaps saying things that I wouldn't necessarily say. I have been quite vocal on Twitter about the issue and shared some of those comments by some ex-pros and things like that, because it's about leadership. The bigger issue, it doesn't matter whether it's Harry Kane, Roy Keane, you know, whoever. It's about being a strong leader. And if you're in that position, I find it leading a running group on a very, very small scale. I lead a group, you know, of course, at times people want to have a go at me, want to ask me questions, want to question me. And I have to answer them, you know, because I put myself in that position. It feels unfair at times. It feels like it's unnecessary, but I have to do it. You know, and then you have to almost sort of, some of it's with a straight bat, some of it you don't want to respond to, but at the end of the day, you're dealing with people, and everybody's got different ideas and agendas about what goes on. So I think that's a great way. That's got me out on my soapbox, hasn't it? Straight away, Dawn. I think she knew that was going to be the case as we had a conversation about it earlier in the week. But great question for Thursday Thoughts nonetheless. So really appreciate that. Anybody got any more thoughts on that? Please drop a comment. Of course, if you enjoying the episode so far, please give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate it. Just helps grow the channel, spread it around the YouTube world and hopefully get to 1 or 2 people. Question 2 from Kay. Well done for clown at the weekend. How do you keep yourself motivated during races when you're far away from your PB fitness? Well, of course, I've been talking about this so much recently. Been sort of really reaching out to get back to a level. I'm talking about it in terms of the parkrun thing, the parkrun vlogs. They're highlighting my progress. Thankfully, over the last few weeks, I've made good progress on that. But the longer runs are starting to come in again. My injuries, hopefully, are behind me. And again, it's just a case of just remembering what it felt like to achieve. Remembering what it felt like to lose some weight. I'm almost at the reset button with everything. I absolutely love running and everything about it, and the people who do it, and why they do it, and the different reasons we do it. Whether it's fitness, mental health, keep us on our A game. Whether it's to meet people or do different things. I absolutely love everything about it, and that's why I do the things I do. It's led me to do DOdaily and for reasons where I've met people and they've been in difficult situations. So I've just got to remember all those things, but also remember what I got from it personally. The real sense of achievement, feeling happy and confident in myself. And again, it's not all about the times and the PBs. I reiterate that because I try to encourage people from all walks of life. Do Running is a community group that welcomes all abilities, paces, people just starting out, encourage walking if that's what it is, encourage participation, and it's much more than a running club. So we ask people to come along even if they're not overly sort of into the running and things like that. There's a social side to it too. But when it comes to getting back to the questions, keeping myself motivated, again, it's just setting those goals in my head, those goals all the time, and readjusting them and trying to get that little bit better. The big motivation for me right now is I only started running 7 years ago now, in my mid-30s, and I don't want to feel like, because all my sort of peak achievements came after 2 years, and then I've had a few issues with injury and illness and blah blah blah, one thing and another, and I don't want to think I've experienced all that in such a short space of time. I want to feel like I can get there again and perhaps get that little bit faster, feel good about that. I know what confidence it does for me. A lot of it's about fitness and weight loss and confidence in myself as well, the way I look. And again, whilst I'm not sort of saying I'm not being down on myself the way I look at the moment or the way I feel when I'm running or the times I get. I don't beat myself up, but it does help you feel better. It helped me feel confident at a time when it didn't feel like there was many people around me. I started feeling confident. I went to parkrun, like I touched on at the start of the episode, and saw running in a different light. People actually did it for fun and for different reasons, and they met up with people. And I met a lot of people, and I met Kay, and it's brought me to the best situation of my life. So again, I don't need all those things necessarily, but if I can start achieving and feeling good, who knows what comes next? You just got to keep sort of pushing on, keep reaching out, and that sort of determination and commitment then starts to expand into other things in your life. Do you know what I mean? And your opportunities arise and different things, and again, that's the motivation. To keep pushing on. It's a struggle right now. I think I've shaken the injury, but clown at the weekend, I did it. It was one of my slowest half marathons. But I did it. I ticked it off. Another half marathon done, probably about 25 complete now. There was a time in my life 7 years ago I'd not completed one, and to look back when I really can't do it, and that's a big motivation, because whilst I don't feel old, whilst I've got plenty of years of running left in me, I believe there will be a point, where it all becomes a bit too much. There will be a point when I definitely can't get any quicker, But I feel if I sort of get myself in shape again, I can sort of compete with my own personal best, and that's all I really want to do. Because I felt fantastic doing it, and I felt fantastic sort of going to events and being in with a chance of it, rather than sort of not being in with a chance. Still get so much from it in many ways. These days, whilst I'm sort of working on my own fitness, I can run with others, drag them through a little bit to their best, and just enjoy the team sort of effort we have at these events. At Clown on Sunday there was 13, 14 people there, and we went for food and drink after, and that's amazing too. So I always find the positive, but a real positive for me and something that'll help me make massive strides is to start improving again. Make no bones about that. Like I say, I spend a lot of my time encouraging people who are not the quickest. I do a coaching session through DOdaily here in Nottingham. Oops, sorry, I dropped my wedding ring. Put it back on. Here in Nottingham, where people of all abilities, we've got one or two who are fairly new to running and sort of run at a pace at the back, and then we've got some really quick guys at the front end, and again, I found a way of motivating people to get something out of these sessions, whatever their ability is, and that's important. But again, personal achievement is good as well. I take a lot of confidence from that, so I'm so pleased I can get involved again. Been out for a session tonight. None of us were really looking forward to it. The weather's damp, but it gives us that accountability to be there. And again, these tough sessions are the ones that make us better. We've done some sprint work, some 2 fast miles, in a kind of relay race, slightly competitive, although it's all very friendly and encouraging. And it's just about finding different ways to approach it. So great question, Kay. Obviously we speak about this a lot, but it's a great question for DOdaily on a Thursday. But it's just the biggest motivation is to think that my best is not beyond me, to get back somewhere. I've got a level to compete with now. When I was going up through the levels the first time, it almost felt like I could achieve anything. Now if I get to that point, I'd love to have that feeling again where I can feel like I can achieve absolutely anything with my running. And before I get too old, I want to be able to do that. So that's my real motivation. But there was lots in there, of course. If you've got anything to add to that, there was a question there, wasn't there, in the comments? Callum, hello, Des. Do you have any runs planned for next year? Well, Callum, part of the on the back of what I just said there, part of the training, part of the big effort comes from training for the London Marathon. Of course, I was supposed to do it this year, but I just wasn't in a position to do it. I wasn't fit enough. The injuries were still niggling away. The run, I wasn't consistent with my running. So my London Marathon got deferred from October until April, and I want to give it a real go. I actually want to do well, but I've got a real target for the year after. I'd love to get in again, and I've got a target of doing sub 4. I won't do that. Well, I might, but I don't think I'll do that in April. It'll probably come a bit too soon. Being realistic again, trying to train properly and not push too hard too soon. So I've got the London Marathon. I'm looking to do 1 or 2 events in the meantime as training. There's a East Coast marathon. That's not actually a marathon. It's 27 miles. They've added a mile on just so you don't run it up and down the seafront, which sounds absolutely brutal. So I'm going to go and do that as a training run before the marathon, just sort of, because it's going to be a battle running along the seafront of the East Coast in March. Is definitely not going to be easy. But again, it won't be about time that day. It'll be about training and getting the distance in. But it gives me a great reason to go and do it. I'll get slight achievement because I'll get a medal and a T-shirt, and as runners, we all love that. It's a little memento to stick in a drawer and remember it one day and look at and remember the experience. And I'm also creating an event as part of the fundraiser for my London Marathon. I did this before I did any of the running groups, and it led me to do a running group. I created an event where Forest and Derby fans ran along the A52 from the City Ground to Pride Park before a game. It was actually 20 miles the way we had to wiggle it round so we didn't get run over. And then the year after we did it back, raised a lot of money, 20 grand for prostate cancer. And the fans coming together, and it was all a big thing. I'm actually doing a similar thing from Leicester on January the 14th to Forest. It's actually 26.2 miles. So again, it'll be a great training run. It'll be an event within itself. It'll be a fundraiser. It'll be something anybody can get involved in. So if anybody's watching who wants to get involved in that, I'm actually doing it as a run, walk, or cycle. So it opens it up a little bit more and different options. There's still be achievement. It'll be set up like a running event. I'm giving it a plug now, but I'm kind of going off point a little bit. But it was set up as a running event, and again, I've done these things before, and they end up amazing experiences where you make new friends, you achieve different things, and it all becomes very, very worthwhile. So yeah, 3 big events there in reality, 3 marathon distances. To really go at and give it my best shot. And then as the year goes on, I'll be doing the usual ones. Robin Hood, of course, I'm an ambassador for the event. I encourage the guys that do running to do that. Great North Run, I bought a membership to do it. Well, I've got a wedding the day before, but we're looking at ways to make it possible. And then some of us, and hopefully get back to Benidorm again. This time next year, the races, it used to be in March. So we was expecting it early on, but this time next year, Benidorm, it's a massive running group event as well. And to do an event in a different country is absolutely brilliant. So really, really looking forward to that and sort of cracking on with 2023. It feels good at the moment to be running again, to be just doing what I can. But when the events are there and you start ticking them off, I'm sure things will start picking up again. I'm really looking forward to it. On that sort of note, what's everybody else looking forward to? That's a great sort of way to comment, isn't it? Get involved in the show tonight. What events are you looking forward to, Callum? Have you got anything booked? Have any of the other viewers got anything that they're really looking forward to? I'd love to hear. They might just inspire me. Of course, that's what the comments and the throwbacks are all about. You just might pick up something from someone and go, I won't mind that. And talking of... there's a couple of questions here, but talking of couple of comments, sorry. Dawn Tour says, I'm starting next year to get fit. I think that's supposed to say. Well, you know where we are, the best running club in Nottingham, and of course all the encouragement I can give them that and the things we do. So look forward to that, Dawn. Let's hope you keep your word this time and stick to it. Patrick says here, how many beers do you have after a race? He says joking, but don't joke. we work hard, play hard. Don't get me wrong. When we've done these big events, it wasn't that many on Sunday, to be honest. I probably had 4 or 5. That's probably quite a few for some, isn't it? But I make no bones about that. When we do these big events, that I said before, the running club, especially when we do them as a group, it's more than just a running club. And I do like a beer. It's all part of it. And the food afterwards. It's brilliant to sort of do the race, feel like you've earned a good sesh. I'll never be an athlete. So whatever I've said, however much I encourage running, however much I love it and try and inspire other people to do it, I understand my role in this as well. And that's why a lot of it is about motivation rather than the technical, the scientific stuff, just like DOdaily, nothing too technical, just the way I see it. And if it means I can have a few beers, don't get me wrong, as the new year approaches, I'll be looking to really sort of cut that out. And again, weight loss is a massive thing for me. It fluctuates when I'm doing events and when I'm on top form and when I'm injured, so I'll be looking to cut some of that out and give it a real go in the new year and really start working on the weight side of it as well. And that means sort of not having so much beer. And I've been doing that to some degree because, of course, around the football matches and the lifestyle, these things kind of creep in. But definitely like a few beers after a race. So there's no harm in asking that one. But lots there on running. Of course, that's my real passion. I've had a question there about football and a question about running, so I can definitely get stuck into those. But 2 great questions. Really, really appreciate them. And thanks for the support as ever from Kay and Dawn. Question 3. What's your favourite winter comfort food? completely random. But again, these questions are fine. Absolutely don't mind getting them. My favourite, I'll probably cut this one short because my favourite's what I'm actually having for tea tonight. Whilst I was out this afternoon, I picked up some chilli, some mince for some chilli, and I'm looking forward to putting it on and cooking it for me and Kay. Probably don't do enough cooking, to be honest, but I love cooking the chilli, and I just wanted something sort of like hearty and enjoyable. It's one of my favourite foods anyway, chilli. So on a Thursday night, we quite often have a chilli, but I just wanted something with a kick to it as well. It's cold out there, isn't it? So something to case all the jar when it says hot. She kind of likes it medium, and I was like, I just wanted something with a little bit of a kick to it. So my favourite winter food is chilli. Me and Kay love a stew. Sometimes when we've got a bit of time at the weekend, we'll put a pan of stew on, after a walk or something like that. We'll bed down and watch TV. So yeah, there's some. Those are my two favourites. If you've got a favourite, of course, drop it in the comments. I'd love to sort of read that. In fact, we may as well do it now. Looking at the throwback question there, what's your favourite winter warmer food? Again, it just might give people ideas, and think, oh, I might have that, and just sort of create. We enjoy our food, the way it says it all. The reason I have to work really hard with the one it says it all, but we like to sort of create it around, like I just said there with the stew, around walking, around the running. After a run, we had the carvery at the weekend. It was, everybody was looking forward to the carvery, probably a little bit more than the run. So again, you just sort of be positive about these things, and that's all I'm trying to do for all these things I do daily. So if you can get involved in any way, it might just get people thinking of how they can approach things, create themselves nice little mini experiences, like we do. We try and be positive and enthusiastic all the time. Enjoy our food, enjoy a few pints, enjoy a run, enjoy the football. I enjoy doing this and getting out of my comfort zone. Dominic says here, get a slow cooker, great for stews, my winter fave. We've got one. They all go in the slow cooker. It makes the meat really nice as well, doesn't it? But yeah, we like lobbing it all in the slow cooker and leaving it on whilst we're out walking. And like you say, absolutely brilliant. Comment there from Dawn about next year. Looking forward to a year of celebrations next year for my 50th. Definitely, plenty of running events as well. 50 running events, Dawn, I reckon, in your 50th year. Is that possible? One a week? It's probably kill me for saying that, but no, we're looking forward to celebrating that too. So, yeah, good questions there. Really sort of appreciate all the input as well from the comments. It's been a brilliant episode of Thursday Thoughts. Really sort of been able to get stuck in again and do what I do, just sort of create a bit of conversation, create a bit of chat, get people looking in, talking about the things I think I know about, football, running, and all those kind of things. Nothing too serious this week, but like I said, if there's anything you want to ask me around the things I say earlier on in the week about motivation, about mental health, about current affairs, like the football today, do get in touch. Any of the links scrolling across the bottom. You can comment on any of the videos throughout the week, or you can email me, des@dorunning.org.uk. If you want to keep it anonymous, that's fine. If you want to just get in touch with me and not necessarily ask me a question to publish, to put out live, there's lots of people who do contact me. I get lots of nice feedback, people who say that they've taken something from it, and that's amazing. I won't lie to you. It gives me a real boost. It gives me confidence. Just today, I saw a guy in Canada. I'll give him a shout out, Albertus. He's been having a tough week. He put it out there himself on Twitter, and he said that he's been out for a 3K run today for the first time in 2 years at -30. And he at the bottom he put inspired by DOdaily and myself, which is obviously the same thing, but he cut us both into that, which is really encouraging for me. I know what this is all about. I know it's not necessarily the most articulate watch, and it's a bit here and there at times, and it's me doing what I'm doing, and why would anybody be interested in that? But all I'm trying to do is just help people get to that point where they're feeling that little bit better about what they're doing. And Alberto's going through his one today at -30. Pretty epic, that. It's just the kind of thing that I'm trying to do. If it helps one person, I've said that from day one. There's people looking in tonight who perhaps don't always look in, but perhaps taking something from it by getting involved. And that's all I'm trying to do, is just support and encourage wherever I can. Be positive and enthusiastic. Explain when I get it right, when I get it wrong, how life's giving me the ups and downs, the heebie-jeebies here and there. And of course, when it comes to running and football and things like that, try and portray how much I really, really enjoy it, because it's something you're allowed to do. You're allowed to really be enthusiastic and enjoy what you do. If you check out on that part one vlog yesterday, you'll see plenty of that. There's plenty of different vlogs on there, running challenges and things like that. If you look at the playlist, a couple of interviews with sort of local people, some of them relatively famous, in the world I live in, and talk about mental health and footballers and things like that. Absolutely brilliant. Love doing it. Really got massive focus again. Getting the new jobs made me think about the structure of the things I want to do. And it's given me real purpose to really get stuck into DOdaily again. Make sure that I work on the content, work on what I'm doing, because there is people watching, there is people taking something from it. Albertus is the case of that. The guys commenting today, and all those that constantly support. The fact that subscribers slowly creep up, they are creeping up, and the views are creeping up as well. So that's all important. It wouldn't matter if one person watched it. If the same person watched it every day, somebody's getting something from it, and I'm getting something from it, and that's what's very important. When I'm doing this well, this is one why I mention it. Some people might say, well, the job's come now, it's more responsibility, it's this, it's that. Forget about all that now. No, this is what got me to a position where I am, all the good things that happen to me. So I've got to keep doing it, and hopefully with this, doing a bit more running, yes, it makes me busy. I wouldn't have that any other way, but it makes me happy as well. And when I'm happy and confident and content, again, I start believing anything can happen. So that's what it's all about. Again, I'll encourage you to subscribe, give it a thumbs up. Never get that right. All 600 and something episodes, 2.5 years. When you're looking at it the other way, it's always wrong. But until the next episode, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for the input. I really, really do appreciate it. It's so important to get it, and it's unconditional. People don't have to watch. So again, it's even more appreciated knowing that. Until that next session tomorrow, Wake Up to Walk, when I'll be really reflecting back on the week, looking forward to whatever I've got in store on the weekend. Out walking, hopefully looking to get somewhere different tomorrow. I've made some plans to run first and then do a little bit of a walk. Really excited about getting back out on the road on a Friday morning. And again, it's part of what Friday mornings used to be, and it's important to get it back in. It's tough in the winter. It's tough because the time between getting up and getting to work and things like that make it really hard to fit it all in. But it's something I've got to fit in, because again, it makes everything sort of fall into place when it's done. So looking forward to Wake Up to Walk, of course, explaining all the reasons why that's important, the regular reasons, the things that I work off every week. But it's important to keep reminding as well. Sometimes the messages are the same, but they're important sometimes to take them in as well, and because we quickly forget. So until then, have a fantastic evening. Once again, one final thank you for watching. Just doing it.